Water has always been the greatest enemy of wood. It swells fibres, feeds fungi, opens cracks and invites insects. In the Viking world, water was everywhere. Salt spray on ships, driving rain on halls, snowmelt seeping into posts and damp soil beneath storehouses. If Viking woodcraft had failed against moisture, their ships would never have crossed oceans, and their buildings would not still be standing today. Yet Viking timber endured. The reason was not secrecy or superstition, but a disciplined, repeatable method that treated waterproofing as a long-term relationship between wood, oil, fire and air. This method was once common knowledge. Today it has been replaced by brittle coatings that promise protection, but often accelerate failure. Understanding the Viking approach explains why their wood survived centuries of exposure without modern chemicals. The Viking method began with choosing wood that wanted to resist water. Vikings did not treat all trees as equal. They favoured slow-grown pine, spruce, oak and fir, harvested when moisture content was naturally low. Trees were cut in late autumn or winter when sap had withdrawn into the roots. Sap carries sugars, and sugars attract decay. By cutting during dormancy, Viking builders started with timber that was already less vulnerable to rot. Once felled, wood was never sealed while wet. Logs and planks were stacked with airflow on all sides and left to season gradually. This slow drying preserved natural resins inside the wood. Those resins mattered. They were the foundation of waterproofing long before any treatment was applied. Anyone harvesting their own wood today can apply this step immediately by cutting only during dormant seasons and allowing proper air seasoning before use. Fire was used to close the door water enters through. One of the most effective Viking techniques was surface charring. This was not done for appearance or ritual. Light charring closed surface pores, destroyed fungal spores and hardened the outer layer of the wood. The resulting carbon-rich surface repelled water while allowing internal moisture to escape. Posts driven into soil, beams near ground level, and ship components exposed to constant spray were commonly treated this way. The charred surface shed water instead of absorbing it, and insects could not digest it. To apply this method today, lightly burn the surface of dry wood until it blackens evenly, then brush off loose ash. The goal is transformation, not deep burning. This step alone dramatically improves resistance to moisture intrusion, especially for ground contact wood. Pine tar was the true waterproofing agent Vikings relied on. The heart of Viking waterproofing was pine tar. Produced by slowly heating resin-rich pine roots and wood in low-oxygen pits, pine tar captured the tree's natural defense chemicals in concentrated form. Unlike modern sealants, pine tar did not form a hard shell. It soaked deep into the grain, binding to fibres and repelling water from within. Viking ships depended on pine tar to survive. Hull planks, decks, seams and rigging were repeatedly treated. Roof shingles, walls and outdoor tools received the same care. Pine tar remained flexible in freezing temperatures and resisted washing away in rain. Modern use follows the same principles. Wood must be fully dry. Pine tar is warmed gently until it flows, then brushed on in thin coats. Multiple applications over time allow deeper penetration. Mixing pine tar with boiled linseed oil improves absorption and curing, a combination recorded in later Nordic tradition but rooted in Viking practice. This treatment still outperforms many modern products in harsh outdoor conditions. The Vikings understood that waterproofing must still allow breathing. A critical difference between Viking methods and modern sealants is permeability. Vikings never tried to trap wood in an airtight shell. Trapped moisture leads to internal rot. Their treatments repelled liquid water while allowing vapour to escape. Pine tar, charred surfaces and natural oils worked together to shed rain without sealing the wood shut. This principle explains why Viking timber often dried quickly after storms, instead of staying damp for weeks. Modern builders can apply this by avoiding plastic coatings in favour of penetrating treatments that work with the grain rather than against it. Chemistry reinforced waterproofing where materials met. Vikings often paired iron fasteners with tannin-rich woods like oak. When iron oxidizes in contact with tannins, it forms iron tannate, a compound resistant to decay and moisture intrusion. This reaction darkened the wood, but strengthened it around joints and fasteners. Modern builders can replicate this by pairing untreated iron with oak or chestnut, or by applying iron solutions to tannin-rich wood before assembly. Design ensured waterproofing never had to fight standing water. Roofs were steep, overhangs were generous, beams were lifted off soil onto stone bases. End grain was protected through joinery instead of being left exposed. Ships were built to shed water continuously, with flexible planking and seams that moved rather than cracked. These design choices ensured that waterproofing methods could succeed instead of being overwhelmed. Anyone building today can apply this by prioritizing drainage, ventilation and protection of vulnerable grain ends. No treatment survives poor design. Why this lost method still matters now. Viking waterproofing was not primitive. It was durable, renewable and repairable. It did not depend on fragile supply chains or short-lived coatings. It depended on understanding wood as a living material that must be guided, not sealed away. For builders, restorers and survival-minded craftsmen, this knowledge is practical and repeatable. It has already survived 1,000 winters. If this guide deepened your understanding of how Viking craftsmanship solved problems we still face today, subscribe to The Beginning for more grounded historical knowledge that remains useful now. Share this with anyone who builds, restores, or values methods proven by centuries rather than marketing claims. History stays alive when its lessons are used.